What's up, you guys? It's Efrain from the Mom and Sons Talk Show. On today's episode, my hair's a little messed up, I'm not gonna lie, but whatever, we don't talk about that. Today's episode is gonna be a little interesting. Mom's gonna lead the way. It was her birthday on Sunday. Pretty interesting birthday weekend I think we had. I think we can all say we enjoyed it a lot. Did mostly anything that she wanted to do. It started early after that episode. Pretty much we started on that Thursday. I took her out. If I'm not wrong, it was that Thursday. We had dinner together. And, you know, we enjoyed, you know, most of it, right? And I think it's very important. Was it the weekend before? I don't know. I know we had started a little bit earlier for her birthday, and we did a couple of things for her. But, you know, it's crazy. Mom's now into this new journey of her life and stuff like that. So letting her start this episode off, as if you guys watched to the end of the last one, you guys saw that she wanted to speak about a couple topics. So she's going to lead the way and we'll follow you. If you haven't noticed, Victor's not in this one because he had to go down. Shout out to Victor and Angie for their anniversary. So happy for them. 2 years, by the way. I can't get it over, not even one. So we're working on it, okay? Before you guys get into the comments, we're working on it. But yeah, so lead the way.
Do the art
Journey, for sure. It's been a journey.
or physically connecting to your surroundings. So my birthday. I think that originally I had always said that I was gonna do a big party for my 40th birthday, but things change, right? And life happened and things didn't turn out to be that way. But I think it gave me an opportunity to see who really cares, you know. I had a lot of birthday wishes, a lot of people that gave me shout out on that day. Even people that I would have never thought that they would have remembered that it was my birthday, they did. They sent me a quick chat, and a great, you know. So overall, I think that who needed to be here was here. Who showed up, and I think that it was exactly what I needed in the headspace that I was in, you know. I'm excited to build my second dollhouse, so that's a
It's gonna be nice.
big win for me.
That
I'm
is.
excited. You know, I think that I enjoy watching videos, and I've never been into anything, so it's a new thing for me. But I think like watching people do the arts and craft piece of it, and you know, doing the tiny kitchen stuff and the furniture, and I hope to get that fancy at some point. I don't know. I think I'm gonna rely a lot on Efrain and Mandy to help me, because you know, they're more about that stuff. They're able to build more than I am. But excited that I was able to connect on that with my mom, and I think Mandy's mom also liked it too, so it was pretty cool to see that they're interested in that too. So we'll see. I want to make my garage into a
Little workshop.
You know, where I'm gonna have all my doll houses
Like
and stuff.
Pinocchio.
Like Pinocchio, yeah, with all my little woods and all the little stuff. But I'm excited. I saw somebody today, I actually sent it to Mandy, how they build they use the Cricut to create a stencil, and then they use this thing, and it created the wood. Not the wood, but like the bricks on the outside of the house. It was super cool. And so I'm excited about that. So you can tell in my voice that it brings me lots of joy. If you know me, you know that my hobby has been Victor and Efrain, and my dogs and just doing life, my career. I've invested years into my job. And I think I'm just looking for that next opportunity of something that brings me that same joy that I once had when I would go to work or had you guys little. So
I think that's very cool, and I definitely, you know, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that, you know, dollhouse making is my idea, you know, but it's definitely cool because it's that creativity that's being brought out of you that you really didn't know that you have, you know, like it's a lot of detail. At first, you know,
it's super detailed. Yeah.
From someone on an outside perspective may think like, oh no, it's just, you know, you're building a dollhouse, like you're just building a dollhouse. But when you really come down to think about it, you're building a house from scratch, you know, from piece by piece. And if one thing doesn't work out right, then the other thing won't work out right. If one window's off, then the whole thing doesn't look right. So there's just a lot of things that go into it where someone that is not creative, it will bring their creativity out of them, because there's a lot of things that are just very, very interesting that go into it, right? You have your kitchen, but then it's not like colored kitchen. You gotta paint the chairs, the table, the whole everything. You gotta
and you have to
wrapping
build
paper,
it.
Exactly. And you know, so I think it's a very cool thing. Not my area of expertise. I'll stay with my candlesticks, but I have gotten into like building toy cars and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. I've liked it so far. I think it's cool. I'm almost done painting mine. So that's one thing there. And I think like overall, it's just very cool how everything really does work itself out in life. You know, I think that we all have, I think it's very cool, you know what I mean? Especially building the whole cars and stuff like that is very cool because again, it's creativity, you know, you don't want to overspray, you don't want to underspray and stuff like that. So, and for your birthday, I think it's awesome from where you have came from to where you're at today. It's a journey for sure. It's been a journey, and I definitely think you can make a movie out of your life because of all the great things and hard things and just everything overall that we've all been through. And you yourself, I think that it's been one of those interesting ones. And watching you grow from what I can remember is maybe one of my biggest inspiration in my life, because we really come from nothing, and today we have our own house, you know, we each have our own rooms, and there's just a lot that goes into it, right? That if you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago, I would have told you maybe not, maybe. I would have told you there's a chance, because I've always seen my mom as a hustler. So there's always been a chance, but we're not supposed to make it. That's just what the odds are. The odds are we're not supposed to make it. And the fact that we're this far really shows that we are able to do whatever we set our minds to do, right? And we just can't let the outside world dictate us so much and control our things, because then we can't. Once we start allowing people's, you know, thoughts and all of that, that doesn't let us, you know, work out. And you know, when I was watching the Kai Snap subathon, you know, the last person I went on there was LeBron James, and he had a very, very, very interesting and very cool, what's the word I'm looking for, speech. And he used this quote, I think it was Thomas Edison, I want to say, maybe I could be wrong, I know it was someone, and it basically is stating that someone that hasn't gone or walked into the arena cannot talk about what you've been through or give you advice, because they don't know the hard work that you put into it, the blood and sweat into it. And I think like that's a lot of our problems. A lot of people nowadays, like, we are the ones that go through that, not anybody else, and we care too much about what other people think when they have never even walked the track that we had walked.
Yeah. And so, you know, I want this space to also be a space where we can talk about different things, right? And how your generation looks at it versus my generation. And I think that it's important for us to take a look at exactly what you said as you think about what your life was and what I see as my life was, right? It's 40 years in the making, right? That's where I'm at, and you're 23 years in the making, right? And so as you look at your life and what your path has taken you, we all have different opinions on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wanna use this space to talk about those things, like, you know, what you feel, you know, those opinions and why you feel those opinions are the way that they are, right? And so I think that when I was growing up, I really didn't have anybody that I looked up to, you know? And I don't know if it's just my generation, maybe other people had people that they looked up to, but I didn't really have that, you know? I didn't really have anybody that I wanted to be like, you know? I would listen to music, I barely know anybody's name too, because I'm not big on memorizing anybody's name. But, you know, I've never been consistent either. It could be the fact that, you know, perhaps I do have ADHD or whatever the case, right? It doesn't really matter what label we want to put today into that. But the point is that I've never really had anybody that I admired and look up to. And I feel that this generation does, right? Like, you guys do look up to a lot of people. Like, if it's like, oh, the streamer that you want to be like, or, you know, this gamer that you want to be like, or, you know, if it's a girl, the makeup artist that I want to be like, or, and I feel that, I don't know, like, you guys tell me, right? People that are watching that's from our generation. Do you guys have somebody that you used to look up to growing up, right? Like, that's a question for you guys, right? Do you guys have that person that you looked up to? It could be mom, it could be dad, it could be an actress or an actor, or, you know, somebody that you're like, wow, I want to be that person. I never had that. I think that my motivation and what I intended or what I wanted to do was always be better than I was yesterday, last month, last week. So I've always been my own competition. I've always competed against myself. And I'm a fixer at heart. You know, I was in a one-on-one today with one of my coworkers, and we were just strategizing about, you know, next steps, about my next career path that I'm taking, where I currently work at. And we went into the conversation, and I see that, you know, I see that every single time somebody tells me, this is the problem, I run to try to fix it, or I run to be that person. And as an adult, I've never admired somebody the way that I admire my boss, or, you know, I just like the way she carries herself. I like the way she's very professional. Her body language when she speaks, the way that she speaks, you know, where I can honestly tell you, as an adult now, I would say from a career perspective, I would love to see myself there, you know. And I've asked her to mentor me and stuff, but she's busy, you know, she's has such a different set of things that she has to do, task lists and stuff like that. But I admire her, and I like the way, it's not idolizing her, because I'm not like how I look at God is not how I look at her, I just look at her from that career perspective, that I like that,
Yeah. And I think that's pretty awesome, and to go based off of, and not based off of, but to go back to how you started this conversation. I think, right, for my generation, and it's not my generation, because there's people in your generation that had people that they looked up to. But in your case, I think it's very different for the simple fact that you started being an adult at a very young age, right? For myself, it took me so long to actually understand what someone is to be someone I look at or look up to or want to get mentored, stuff like that. It took me a while to really understand that, right? And you started at 16 years old as being a parent, which was my parent. So you never really had that time to work on you and see how to become successful. You pretty much, which is amazing, because not a lot of people can do it, went at it, and like the saying I like to say, which is balls to the wall, and you just went at it with no regrets, with no thought of failure. It's just, I have to do it for my kids, and you just kept going. So I think it's very different because of that. For someone like me that I don't have kids and I'm working on myself and I'm trying to do more, then that's how we're able to understand and look at people differently. Like, oh, okay, that's someone I look up to because it motivates me to be in their shoes, or what they are doing, or what they have done, so it's a lot different. Back then you really didn't have enough time, and as well as there's a lot of different things, you really didn't have cell phones, or you didn't have social media where it's you saw this person on a daily basis and you see what they're doing. It's a lot different. Most of the time you guys had either an actor or a rapper that you guys would listen to this music and, oh, that's cool, I would love to be a rapper like that one day, or an actor like that. So you guys had that. Nowadays you see different things. You have streamers, you have, like you were saying, makeup artists, you have clothes brands, you have, people that dress good, fashion people. You have all of these things nowadays that are more out there than it was before, where people can actually see how to want to see them as a mentor and stuff like that. Trading has grown so much where now I even have a mentor for trading, and it's all these different things that we go through and have to learn to really understand what life is, right? And I think my biggest mentor, my biggest go-to and everything is God, right? Because, or Jesus, because Jesus is what lived here and he was so perfect. So that's my someone I look up to. God is someone I look up to, but in a sense of that's my father, right? Jesus is someone I look up to because of the great things he did of helping people. And that's how I see myself, right? So, and looking up to those kind of things, it's very different, right? And we're now able to see that a lot more because of social media, because of how many great things and how many people are out there actually making a difference. Yeah, you have other people that don't, but the thing is, nowadays it's come out more to light that media, the news outlets and everything control that and control what you see, but you really don't get to see so much good things, so it's a lot different. You have to really be locked into that person to really see what they're doing that's good. And that's my point of view about having that motivation, having that someone that you idolize.
So do you think, and again, and it could be, right? It could be our generation, right? I look at our generation and I look at everything we're in a very middle space, right? So when our path started, myself, right? We didn't have cell phones, right? The cell phones look like a brick, right? And it was only people with money that had a cell phone, and then people would have it on their cars, right? It was actually attached to their car and they had to pay for an extra line and whatever. And
I think they should have kept that. I think that was pretty cool, to be honest.
And then you were on the phone and you're talking to somebody and then they're screaming at you to get off the phone because, or somebody's trying to connect to AOL dial-up, you know, all these different things. But then technology kept on happening, right? And so you know, you went from having a chat room, you know, where everybody is on a call and people have fake names and, you know, people are just talking to each other and it's a chat room. You go from that chat room to then the AOL chat rooms, right? And then from the AOL chat rooms, right, you go into virtual reality chat rooms, right? Like that's what is in now, right? You could dress up as you want, you could be whoever you want to be. And so it's interesting to see the carousel of progress as you know it, right? And I think I've lived through a lot of beautiful things throughout my lifetime, that I've been able to see the generation just evolve, and so quickly how it has evolved. And I hope and pray that God continues to give me health and the ability to continue to see that carousel of progress to continue to move on. But I do believe, you know, that the social media aspect of it, and I had that conversation with Victor, right? How can we get to a place where you do shut off all social media for just 24 hours, or even like from sunset to sunrise once a week, you know, like the Jewish do it and other religions do it, right? Where you are physically connecting to your surroundings, right? I'm guilty myself that sometimes, you know, we're living in such a fast pace that I connect better, or I pay attention better when I have two different things happening at one time. And so, you know, for your generation, and that's what I was telling Victor, if you guys don't make that change now and create a pattern and a hobby and a opportunity to just disconnect. And I've been seeing a lot more videos on TikTok, and maybe it's because it's what my TikTok is around, but I see more and more people trying to find ways to stay away from, you know, the social media, the phone, and just be able to be present, even if it's just, yes, okay, playing a video game, you know, because some of them play these cozy games that I've been talking to you guys about on, you know, on the Nintendo Switch or whatever. But the point is that I think social media, for some things it's good, but some things it's damaging that, because you don't know who you are. You know who that person is, and you want to fight to be that person or be better than that person.
Yep.
So it's not really a yourself thing. Where do you step back and say, I need to find myself?
And I think like that's a fantastic question, right? Because I don't think there's an actual answer to it, because it depends on the person, right? And why I say that is, I think we get lost in social media very easy because of what we see. And a lot of the times, everybody has always said it, a lot of times it's BS, it's fake, it's not what they picture. Could it be? Yes. I'm not saying it's not, it's all fake. But what I'm saying is, we're so worried about what that next person has, where we're not worried about ourselves. So we sometimes find, which is messed up, but it's the truth, we find enjoyment looking at someone else and saying, I want that, because we're always doing it. That's just the truth. So you enjoy it. And comparing yourself is a killer of all dreams. That's how I see it, right? And you know, so funny enough that you said that my phone, you know, my phone actually stopped working yesterday. Long story. And today, it's been an on and off because I have my other phone and it's not really connected right now, so it's the Wi-Fi, but it's just not my regular phone, so I haven't been on it as much all day. And I've found myself so much more present, and it was very weird because it's like, damn, I'm a little bored here, you know, I'm not doing anything, don't have my phone, but when I came to think about it, it's like, damn, you know, you're here, you know, you're now noticing things. And I think like that's the biggest breaker. Like once you start taking a step back, that's the first thing, like you start seeing that you're looking for your phone or you're touching your phone or noticing your phone, but then you realize, oh, my phone doesn't work. So it's like, you have no choice. And going through this now, it's like so beautiful because I'm able to learn from it. I'm able to now start building up that sense of, let me back up a couple of days out of the week from my phone. And I think like that's so important for everybody because even gaming, even everything, right? Step away 1 or 2 days, a day, at least full day where you're just with your family. Because at the end of the day, one thing we all, or not all of us, but a lot of people just say at funerals is, damn, I wish I had more time with that person. But if you're always stuck on your phone and you're always stuck in what's here, then what's here, you will never enjoy that time. And I think like that's something so important to do or to have, where we need to pay attention more around ourselves and love ourselves and work with ourselves, so that way we can let go of everything and just hang out for a day with your family. Because maybe that's something that you needed that week. Maybe that brought a new memory for you or brought a new opportunity for you where it was amazing, where you enjoyed it, where you saw it. Like today I went and we had dinner and I had no phone. So it was me more looking around, looking at people, looking at the TV because they were playing the Yankees game. There's just a lot of stuff that's going around that you visualize and you see a lot more of going around than you usually do because you're always stuck down here. And I think like that's so interesting. And I definitely agree with the idea that we should start building a habit of let go of everything for some time and do that and do this and do that. Like, you know, I have a lot of things that I want to start working on, and I've taken a big break, and honestly I feel like that break that I just took was more laziness and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm about to bring back a lot of stuff that I was doing before because I did feel good. And I think like that's the best thing that I could do. And we all have to find that. How can you improve yourself in life?
I think that when you were struggling, you know, to develop your reading and educational habits and all of that stuff, one thing that your teacher recommended me was for me to create specific schedule, right? And it's a proven fact that for you, it might not work for everybody, right? But for you, I noticed that when you're very structured, you do better. So, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you go to the gym and then you come in, you take a shower, you work on, you know, your 9 to 5, but you're also working on your trading, you've been the most successful.
Yeah.
And so it's a proven fact that for you, you have to be very structured, and you have to be very disciplined, because that is what gives you the reward at the end of the day. So you might be a person that needs to check boxes on a daily basis, like, this is my to-do list, this is what I need to do, and it could be daily tasks that you complete that then you reward yourself. Wow, you know what, I completed all my tasks today, I feel good about this. At the end of the week, same thing I used to do when you were a baby was, you know, I would reward you. That means we would go to the park, or I would go buy you something or whatever. But those things that would reward you, and you need to reward yourself, because it's not always about, oh, I want to have $10,000 in the bank, but then you don't turn around and say, you know what, I want to buy this shirt today, let me buy it, right? Because you have to enjoy. and reward yourself. So you have to find what that reward looks like for you. But I do believe that you are a person that needs to be very structured. And I think that when you get into that habit and you build that habit and you're consistent with that habit and you don't interrupt that habit no matter what. It's like me, my first habit that I'm building is going to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
Next week, I want to implement something different, you know? And I am trying to be away from my phone, because it's not that I don't TikTok all day long. I'm busy with work all day long and phone calls all day long. But I do lay in bed and I'll just play like the little game that I have on my phone, or I'll watch, Impractical Jokers or whatever, Married with Children, whatever I'm watching, Everybody Loves Raymond, whatever. But the point is that that's how I tone it down or end my night. And I did notice that when I was getting off of work and I had a reward to look forward to, which was building my house. When I had that, I was the happiest right there, right? I was happy because I was rewarding myself. I completed my task at work. Now I'm gonna come and I let go of my phone, my tablet, TV and everything. And sometimes I just put the TV just because I like to hear the voices. But it's so rewarding when I was doing that.
I definitely agree with everything that you have said there, and I would definitely recommend it to everybody, right? So me and my best friend were talking about this yesterday, and it's very, very, very true. You have to, there's a saying, which reality of is, a lot of people think it's corny, but I think it's very true when you really think about it, right? Fake it till you make it. And what I take from that saying is, a rich person is not a rich person because they sat on their ass all day. Sorry for the language, it's the truth. A rich person is a rich person because of the schedule that they had. They all have schedules. They all do something. They all have something that they follow. They wake up, do something, this. Everybody.
They do.
Because that's how they got there. And I was watching this, so I came to the realization, and just really quickly off topic, that one of my other favorite actors that has grown a lot, and I noticed this a couple months ago, but every time I see him, it's like, damn, yeah, that is my inspiration. For an actor-wise, would have to be hands down Matthew McCarthy. I think when you really hear him and how he talks and how he preaches and everything, it's just so surreal. And him and Chris Williamson, which is another great podcaster, they were having a conversation. And it's something which comes back to everything I was saying. Everybody, when they have a mentor, is like, what should I do? What do you do now, mentor? What do you do now that can help me? It's like, no, I don't care what you do now. I don't. Tell me how you made it up there. Tell me what your schedule was like when you had nothing. That's what I want to know, because that's what made you, not what you do now, because now you're just different. Now you're at the top. So no, tell me what you did then, because that's what built you. If you change your strategy from there to here, then tell me that old strategy, because that's really what made you into that successful person. If you got up every day and it builds you up, that's what I want to know. And I think when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's such a fact, because the day of tomorrow I become successful, and I change things because now I'm a little bit more successful, so now I have more free time. That's already a change from what made me successful, right? And I think like that's something that people don't understand. And I think to me, and I've noticed it, and I would recommend it to everybody, is that make a schedule. Follow it, right? And I have to agree. Going to the gym in the morning, everything, I feel so much better. Even now, like, so when I'm done trading, I'll have moments that I want to play, because I'm not playing like crazy video games or shooting video games. I'm more laid back now, which is funny enough. I'm either playing Minecraft or farming sim, because I just enjoy it. I just like to wind down because I just came from trading, and for me to even play, I have to back test. I have to go over a month or 2 months or even 3 months sometimes of back test session to make sure I have my strategy right and I know what I'm looking for, and then I can play for 1-2 hours. And it's like,
but there you go. You're
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like when I'm going to that trading, I'm like, in my mind, it's like, oh, go play something. But no, I can't. I have to do this first because this is going to make me be able to do everything I want to do. Because it's like another thing me and my best friend talk about. I can't just stand up today and be like, I'm going to stop playing video games and become successful. Because at the end of the day, when I become successful, it's not that I'm not going to play video games. Because video games has always been a part of me. I may not play it as much because I do want to travel. I would love to go see the other side of the world. But it's not to say that I'm not going to play video games, because it's always been part of me. That's always been how I grew up and even thought about everything, right? And it's like, in that moment, and this is that journey for me in life, between your start to your end, that middle ground, that journey, you have to learn how to enjoy it. And when I'm back testing, from back testing to gaming, that inside there gets so hectic for me, because I'm like, oh man, I need to finish this so I can play. Oh man, I gotta finish this so I can play. Or oh man, and now I'm noticing what I'm doing wrong, so now I gotta implement this into my strategy. Oh, how can I change this? So there's so many things that are going around where it's benefiting me, and it's not, and then it is, and then a lot of the times it is, because I'm able to end up backtesting again, because I'm like, okay, the games can wait. I need to fix this now. I noticed an error. So it's like you start adding things to make yourself even better. And I think like that, what you said about structure, I think everybody should, really, really do it. And some people can laugh about it. Some people can think it's not real. It's the truth. When you are more prepared, that's when you're going to become the most successful, because successful people aren't a mess. They're not a mess.
Of course
they have a
not.
plan and they have everything. They don't even stress most of the time, because once you're successful, that's another thing. Most of them aren't even going to work. They have someone that runs their business. So I don't care about what you do now. Show me when you ran your business. What was your daily life like that? Did you go and be at your business for 12, 13 hours a day? How did you do it? Did you drink a lot of coffee? What was your eating habit? Like, those are things that we want to know, or at least me, because I don't care about what you do now.
Yeah. When you're successful, it doesn't really matter. But it's like, and again, I'm controversial. I'm not going to talk politics, but even Donald Trump has a
schedule. Absolutely, yeah.
Has a schedule, right? And this person that I'm talking about from my job, she even has it to the T of what she eats, right? Like, and it's just like she was an assistant at one point.
Wow.
And she left there because she didn't know what she was without being the shadow of that person. But to who she is today, and it's incredible to see her, with her own struggles, with her own, children and marriage and everything that she had gone through in her life. But the point is that she has a structure, and it is, and I'm granted, in my session for therapy, that's what I'm working on, is creating a structure for myself that I'm rewarding myself, but I'm also happy and completed. And I think that, what is the point of being on earth if it isn't to leave a legacy? And what is that legacy that you want to do?
Deep.
Is it going to go ahead and working a 9-to-5, buying a house, buying a car, having jewelry, whatever that looks like for you? But is that how you're going to be remembered? And I've made numerous decisions in my career that I wish I wouldn't have done, and just because I react to things because I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. I love what I do, and I know I'm really good at it. But are they people that make me second guess my ability to do my job? Absolutely. And so, do I need to be more structured? I do. But I think that it all goes down to my mood that I'm feeling, right? And so it goes back to the same thing. This person that I'm talking to you about, that I guess we can look at it as my mentor or whatever you want to call it, is that person also, not that they're not committed or not that they're not passionate, but is this person, do I have the same habits that this person has?
That's a good question. I feel like even something like that, right, is very interesting, right? Because habits, the way I seen it, thanks to my mentor, is something so important. What you do on a daily basis, what you do every moment. And that's another thing that I replay a lot. You know, those things that we do today is not about right now. Those choices you make right now is not about right now. The choice you make right now today is gonna dictate you for the next 5 years, maybe even 10. And it all starts with those habits, because if you have shitty habits from the moment you wake up, you will make shitty choices from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And you may not realize it because from a day to day, you're just like, oh, okay, I'm just living my life. But it's all because of your bad habits. And I think like, for someone that wants to do better in life, I definitely would recommend build better habits. Not to say that you have bad habits or not. You know, I think we all have a little bit of bad habits that we ourselves have to sit there and figure out, hey, what can I really fix? And that's what's important about it. What individually we can do ourselves to fix that habit. And we're never going to get at 100% perfection, but we can work to a point where we're feeling better, where we're working better to better ourselves, right? And to really break that stuff down, you know, and the habits, I think, is a very, very, very good thing. I think that if you are already questioning if you have good habits or if you have bad habits, I think that that's the moment where you need to be like, oh shit, I need to fix something. Because, you know, I learned this, which is funny, I learned this at a GameStop. The worker said it because I was contemplating on getting in the game, and he's like, if you're already contemplating, you're already thinking about if you should get it, don't get it, because you're already contemplating it, so you're not even going to enjoy it. And it's like, I think it's like, that's so real. So if you're already contemplating, you're already questioning things, you need to get to the bottom of that question. You need to find that answer so you can better yourself. So anybody out there that's questioning, should I do this or should I not? I don't think you should do it. I think you should rework your mindset. And if you really do feel like you should, and that's what you're contemplating because you feel like you should, go all in. And don't go all in 80%, go all in 100%. And change those habits so you make sure that you're making the best opportunities. Like myself, right? So as of recently, and I hate myself for it, right? I've been waking up 5 minutes before I got to clock into work. That is already a bad habit from the moment I wake up. Then I'm not taking my breakfast at the right time. I'm not taking my lunch at the right time. And I'm not taking my last break at the right time. So I'm all over the place. So I think those are habits.
And you're not taking your doggies outside to do pee-pee.
And I'm taking those habits that are not good, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to fix those habits. All of us have habits we need to fix. Maybe I should be waking up at 6 a.m. again, where even if I don't go to the gym, at least I'm up and I'm able to do things. If it's make myself a breakfast, shower, take the dogs out, you know, clean up my room, whatever that case might be.
You can start your day with a run and then take a shower, right? Because it's great to do a run on an empty stomach. You know, that's so and then you could do your hard workout in the afternoon. That's perfectly fine. But you're right, and even me, like, you know, I've been talking about I need to start waking up at 6. I need to start waking up at 6, but you know.
It's that comfortability.
I don't, you know, and I've been doing better. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night as I used to, but I'm also going to sleep later, right? I'm going to sleep 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and that's not like me. I always go to sleep really early. 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'm already asleep. So I think also all of those things have to, you definitely need to be structured.
And that's a perfect example, right? So I've tried to find this answer, and I go back to the same answer, right? So I go to sleep, like last night, I went to sleep at like 1:30 in the morning. Then I was trying to get up at 6. Okay. Let's be realistic. There's actually 0 reasons to me really having to wake up at 6. The reason I want to get up at 6 is because it's to change my life and better. But what ends up happening there is your mindset from when you wake up then is very hard, because when you wake up and you're cozy in your bed and you're under that warm blanket and it's cold out, you don't want to get up. That's just the truth.
Yeah, of course.
So now we compare it to when I was going to school up here. When I was going to UTI, I would go to sleep at 12 o'clock and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 in the morning and have to go to school. But it's because I had no choice. And I think like that's the mindset I'm trying to build back up. Forget about, I don't have to wake up. No, you have to wake up, because how I'm starting to think about it and starting to mentally prepare myself with that is, you not waking up is dictating you getting fatter, you getting lazier, and maybe expanding yourself to not meeting someone.
Of course.
Maybe you just messed up on network. Maybe you could have gone for a run, and maybe you would have found someone in the neighborhood running, and you would have had a conversation with this person, and now you met a successful person, or this, or you don't know who you would meet. But it's about taking that initiative of doing things the right way so that your life can get better and the course of your life will get better. I think that that's very important to me. That's why I'm trying to shift my mindset to back where it was, where it is important to get up in the morning. It is important to wake up at 6 a.m. if I'm going to go to the gym. Rich people, and this is such a fact, this is a fact, you can ask anybody rich. A rich person doesn't go to the mall on the weekends. A rich person will go to the mall during the week. A famous person goes to the mall during the week. Why do they go during the week? Because it's more likely for them not to run into fans on a weekday than on a weekend. Because kids are out on weekends, this and that. So the likelihood of you meeting someone is going to happen during early times of the day. What if I go to the gym and I'm about to walk into the gym and I meet someone that owns their own business and is inspiring me, and maybe I take a whole different course in my life and I become successful that way? I don't know, but there's only one way to find out, and that's changing that. And that's my saying to everything. Do that change. Make that change today, because that change is going to dictate you the whole rest of your life. One change can literally set you up for success. And it all goes back to why I believe that God is always going to set you up the right way. It's not that he's going to grab your hand and tell you, look, let me set everything in your hands. No, it's make the choice yourself. You have the free will. I'm here to catch you, because that's what God does. He catches us and he helps us. That's how we feel comfortable. But we don't sit there, and you should never expect him to do it for us. And I think like that's why for me it's very important from how I do things. I say, okay, I'm going to, boom, 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 boom. And I should do it like that, because it's true what you said. The most success and the most happiest I've been in life is when I had that structure, that this broken down. We go back to Donald Trump. That man only sleeps 4 hours a day, but he didn't do it one night. He didn't decide to be like, well, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 4 a.m. I'm going to go to sleep at 12 and wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever, go to sleep at whatever the case might be. No, it took him time, and he's just. Sorry about that. You guys had to take a quick moment of a break. But back to what we were saying. Yeah, so I think like it just takes time. Making that schedule takes a lot of time. But it's the initial of let me start today. Let me do this. Let's get through work to help you out.
No, and I love that. And so I challenge our community to think about that one thing that they're going to change this week. And I would love to see, whoever wants to share with us, what are you changing this week, And I think that as a community, we can all do it together, right? And hold each other accountable to those changes that we want to make. One thing that my therapist told me was, you can't change everything all at once, right? You got to make one small change and then continue to add to that. But once you have already developed that habit, not just be like, okay, I want to wake up at 6 o'clock and I'm going to go to the gym today, and I'm also going to no, that's not going to work. One thing at a time.
I agree with that. I think that's a good note to leave the podcast here today. I think today was very, very knowledgeable for a lot of people, especially those that want to get in it with life and study and become someone one day. I think this episode will find you in a great time, right? And when you're hearing this and watching this, I think that it's meant for you, and if you're watching it because it's the new episode, good. Listen to what we're saying, because I think I think it's meant for a lot of people out there. I definitely do. And like I always like to do, I like to leave it on a positive quote and a positive note. Today's quote is, stop caring for what everybody says, right? If they have not walked the same path, if they have not stepped into the ring as many times as you have, or even have stepped into a ring once, they can't talk, because nobody knows the sweats, the blood, and the tears that you put into that thing that you're doing. So don't give up, because you know what? There's an image that's out there on the internet. Every time I see it, and it literally lives rent free. It's a man with a pickaxe. He's mining. And the picture is him walking away, and the gold and the diamonds is literally one hit away. And we see, because it's a 2-dimensional photo, but he doesn't know that. And don't be that guy. Don't be the guy to quit right at the end. Don't be the person to quit right when that blessing that God's about to give you is right there. Keep at it, keep fighting, and you'll make it. Guaranteed. Because God's will is for us to be someone, for us to fight and enjoy the life that we have. That's what God wants us to prosper and do great in life. So don't give yourself any excuse to give up. I love you guys. I'll leave that with you guys. Good night. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.